Yay! Okay, I'm here with an amazing woman. She is a friend first. She became a client, I guess it's been about 6 months now. And I cannot wait for this conversation. Jenn is one of the most vibrant, energetic, smart, and just all around amazing women, mama of four. And I'm just going to let her take it away and tell us about you. Tell us about your background, who you are, all of those amazing things.
Aw, it's so good to be here, Rena. I'm so happy to connect, and I sure hope that our conversation today resonates with the people that need to connect with us right now.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about me, friends. My name is Jenn Cooper. Everybody calls me Coop. Nobody ever calls me by my first name. I feel like, although Rena sometimes does,
I do.
but it's so nice to meet you all. I have been in the sales arena since about 2005, 2006, professionally, meaning I'm selling and they're actually compensating me for it. I think that my experience in sales went back a long time before that, even back to, as a child, going door to door with your little catalogs and, having people sign up for something so that I could get a little prize or something. I didn't realize at that time that my entrepreneurial and also sales skills were being formed, but they were. Fast forward, I worked in the medical sales arena and medical devices. I was also in insurance sales. I had gone to school, I went to college for nursing and ended up graduating in mental health counseling, which I always say it's funny. I don't use that degree, but sometimes in sales, I do feel like our education comes, it's pretty useful as
Yeah.
we're having conversations, right? So I ended up, so I when I ended up starting a family, which did not come easy to me and my husband, Greg, I decided to hang up my scrubs and leave the OR to stay home and raise my premature twin boys, Bryce and Mason. And I was not that mom that dreamed of staying home. I was a workhorse. I was a hustler. I never dreamed of being buried in butts and boogers, wiping butts and boogers every day. But alas, here we
Here we
are.
are.
Here we are. Um, and during that time, I started feeling like, gosh, what if there's a way to contribute to my family while I'm able to also, be the primary um, uh, nurturer, in our home. And that's how I stumbled across network marketing, which I still build in network marketing. But I also am very, very excited about how my personal sales coaching business has grown as well. Rena, you've been a huge part of that. So that's what brings us to today. Now I do those two things, and the future's bright. Things are looking up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess you define the word busy. I would say you have a yeah, you have a lot on your plate, and that brings me to this next question. I think this is really important because you mentioned your sales program and you've been building it now for the last 6 months. Now you've been in sales for like over 20 years, but you were like, okay, you know what? I'm going to take this knowledge that I have in sales because I've learned a couple things over the years and I want to help other people with that. And so, what was it that initially had you reach out to me and say, you know what? I want to look at doing some coaching with you or at least have the conversation about it. What was that first feeling that happened for you?
The first feeling, and it's funny when I think about that moment back in January, I was not open to coaching. I had made, at that moment, I wasn't open, but the logical side of me knew that, if you've got big dreams and big business goals, there's never a time I feel that you shouldn't have a coach or a mentor, because they're what they're designed to do, and what someone like you is designed to do, is shrink time.
Yes.
And so many people, you know, I feel like they look at sometimes maybe cost, right?
Yeah.
But what is your time worth? And if anybody who's building business asks themselves, hey, do I want to drag out this painful and beautiful all at the same time, brutal, this journey, do I want to drag this out, or do I want to know what the people that have done what it is I want to do, like, what is that worth to me,
Yeah.
to know what they know? And in that moment, I was I was at a fork in the road. I have invested over 150 grand in coaching and mentorship. Not a single dollar I regret.
Yeah.
Every single dollar, every single coach has been a stepping stone in my journey. You've also helped me with my perception around that. There is no one stop shop. There's no one stop where you figured it out and
No.
you arrive.
No.
It's a constant layering as we grow
Yeah.
with each coach. But in that moment in January, Rena, that fork in the road, I felt like, is is this even worth it anymore? After all this time and all these investments, am I ever going to figure this out? um Maybe I'm not cut out for this, because I feel like I should be further ahead than I am now. um, Maybe if it's the technical stuff and all the back end infrastructure, which, PS, you need this in order to scale.
Yes.
And I know that I knew that in that moment, but at the same time, I was believing the head trash that I'm just not smart enough to figure out the back end technical stuff and infrastructure. Um, I have paid people tens of thousands of dollars to do all that stuff for me. But I realized at that time I was at a fork in the road where I could throw in the towel. But I said yes to you, even though I wasn't wanting, coaching. Well, I knew that I eventually would come back to my senses. I was in an emotional state, and we
Yeah.
shouldn't ever make decisions in an emotional state, right?
Yeah.
The big ones.
Yeah.
But I knew I had been watching you for a long time. I've known you for a long time. Um, that should be lesson number one for anybody that is building a business or brand of any kind. There's always people watching. And I always maintained, some connection and some contact with you since I started learning about you in 2017. And I knew before I talked to you, I already knew that you were the next coach for me, because I had followed your journey so closely. And
Yeah.
what you've done, especially in the last 1 to 2 years, I was watching, and the timing was right for me.
Mm.
Um, and that's what ultimately made me say yes. It was actually watching you and everything you had done up until that point. I already knew when I was ready, you were the next person for me.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And you said something that also, as high performing women, right? You said something that made me kind of have a thought that it's actually even more frustrating. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's more frustrating to be a high performer and have invested so much and still feel like you're spinning your wheels.
Mhm.
And I think both of us have been down that path where I've spent near 100 grand on mentorship. And again, to your point, and I will say this forever and a day, that every single mentor that I've ever had has a very soft place in my heart, because I wouldn't be where I am today without each and every one of them. But there's no final destination. Everyone kind of moves you to that. So maybe in a couple years from now, you're going to be seeking a different level and you're going to meet a new person. You're going to be like, you know what, I resonate with that mentor and I'm going to kind of grasp on. And that's the beauty of growth. So I love that you didn't throw in the towel, because there's a lot left of Jenn Cooper to make a huge impact in the world with her work. But what would you say if you could think of one problem that you had business wise? What was the problem you had that you said, okay, I need someone to help me? Like, what was that thing for you? And it might be more than one problem, but what was the main problem that you kind of felt at that time?
Oh, that's easy. Scalability.
Mm,
Scalability. You see, what I had done is I wasn't afraid to take chances with having a great idea or a great concept that I felt could help other people accomplish something, or bridge that gap from where they are. In my case, where they are in their sales and in their revenue to where they desire to be. I knew that I wasn't afraid to say, okay, I know a thing or two
yeah,
here. This is something I think I can help a lot of people with. I
yeah,
wasn't afraid to get an idea and put it out there. And really, I've always looked at coaching like chasing testimonials. I'm not chasing the the enrollment. The
no,
enrollment is that's like the starting point. It's not the win. The win comes from the testimonial that we help create.
yeah,
And so I wasn't ever afraid to go for that. So a lot of times I was a very much a ready, fire, aim type of person. But then after I would launch it and then I would execute it, and we'd get the results and it was a great experience, then it's like, now what?
yeah,
Now we're back to the beginning again. All right, when are we launching again? Like, what's and then it's like, you gotta gear all back up again. And it
yeah,
was like, that's not scalable.
no,
That's not,
or sustainable.
that's
Mm,
right.
yeah,
And so that's the number one thing. That's the number one thing that I needed was scalability. And I knew after watching what you had created and what you had ultimately figured out through lots of different avenues, coaching, mentorship, and a lot of grit yourself.
yeah,
And when someone has figured it out, they they speak differently.
yeah,
They carry themselves a little differently. And you were carrying yourself in a way that you were like, no, I got this now. And I
yeah,
was like, I need this. I
yeah,
need that. I know I'm that. Like, I want to feel that way
yeah,
about my coaching business. And you were not married to your phone. You were not doing the dog and pony show and stupid smoke screens and mirrors on social media. Like, you were making a difference and you were doing it in a way that allowed you to still live your life as well as scale your business.
mm,
That's what I needed. Scalability.
wow. Thank you for sharing that. And I think this could literally be a 2-hour conversation because it's that important, especially for women. I'm very, very passionate about reaching women and especially moms, because those of us that are high performing women and moms, we're kind of a different breed. And our ability to juggle life, marriage, kids, business, whatever you have going on in your world, the ability to compartmentalize all of those things, like, it can eventually lead to significant burnout. And so when you say the word scalability, I think, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're also saying you were looking for some leverage in your business life.
100%.
Yeah. So one thing to scale that business, but another thing to not be living in that business 24/7, where it's like it's all you eat, sleep and breathe. Like, I got to work, I got to work, I got to grow, I got to grow. But you can take a breath now and you can say, okay, I'm
Yeah.
building something that has some foundations, and I'm not on it 24/7, but it still has the capability to scale the way I want it to.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about some of your results, because you joined the program end of January,
Mhm.
and tell us what your experience has been like in high ticket design. All the things.
So it has been, as you can imagine, guys, you ever feel like when you're learning new things, it's like you go through those periods of this sounds like Chinese to me. How many times did I say that to you? I'm like,
I,
okay, that sounds like Chinese to me, but I'm here for it. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I've said those words exactly
yeah,
several times. Like, okay, that sounds like Chinese, but I'm here for it. I'm gonna somehow figure it out. I don't know how, but I'm trusting
yeah,
the process. And this whole experience has been a journey of trusting the process. And even the times that I have questioned, even the times that I've challenged you,
yeah,
you know, you've brought me back to remind me of what we don't want. And here, and sometimes as I'm learning these new things and you see lots of other things, it's easy to for the blinders to come off, guys. It's easy to, look left and look right instead of just keeping your head down and focusing on and trusting the process. And even the times that I've challenged you, well, maybe I should do this, or that doesn't work, so maybe, and you say, this is why, you remind me, this is why we're doing this. This is what you came to me for. And so my journey has been a series of learning to trust things that I didn't know much about before. That learning to trust a process that I wasn't following before. I was just executing and I can do my deliverables. I can deliver really well. But it was, now wait. On the back end, do we have this buttoned up? Do we have that buttoned up? Having all of the steps, my experience watching, going through each of your phases of the high ticket design has been like it's just been layering in one thing after the next in bite-sized pieces
yeah,
that someone like me, that was my big hang up. I'm not technical. I thought that was going to be the reason that I couldn't do this.
yeah,
And now I'm learning with high ticket design that I can learn, I don't know to what degree of mastery I will have, but I'm learning more, and I know more now than I did 6 months ago. I know more now than I did 3 months ago. And now I can see the vision. I can see what it looks like. I can see how people are going to come in through this beautifully organized process where it's authentic to me, and they get to have a little taste and connect with me in more of an automated way, but
yeah,
that eventually will lead to more personal and behind the scenes. And I can see how people will come through the process. And that I never saw before. It was always like more content, more content, more content, all the things. Now I'm seeing, okay, this is strategic. This is more simple. This is more clear. And it's more focused on the things that I love and the messaging that not only is it completely authentic to me and what I deliver, it also, you've helped me fine tune my messaging so that I'm not talking at people. No
yeah,
more of the teaching everything I know.
yeah,
Now I'm more connecting people and shifting their thoughts, giving perspective, shifting belief. Like this, it's a totally different game than
yeah,
even how I was showing up with content 3 months ago.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so that's a hopefully I'm sure there's a lot I'm missing out, but I don't want to go too long on that for you.
No, that's amazing. And, one of the things that we talk about all the time, especially for coaches, the coaching industry is very much alive and well. And one of the things
And
that
competitive.
very competitive, and one of the things that I really dislike about the online space is this illusion of how easy things are. So what happens is people will they'll to your point where it's like you look here, you look there, you're like, oh, well, that sounds amazing and that looks so easy. And one of the biggest lessons, and I'm sure you can attest to this as well, Jen, as an online coach, is that the most amazing program without people to talk to consistently it doesn't matter how much skill you have. It doesn't matter how much,
Yeah.
you have. You either do two things. You figure out a way where you can bring people into your world without being married to your computer screen and your phone, or you live online to build a business. And so it really became, for me, if I don't figure this out, then this hurrah is over, because I don't want that lifestyle. I would rather get a job than live online 24/7. That is how deep the change is for so many online coaches that I speak to. You're one of them, so seeing you morph into this kind of, even seeing you have these abilities where you can work on your business, the tech side independently. Like when you share some of those wins with me, I'm like, yes, she's in control of her business. This is amazing. So, what would you say? So, okay, you've been in the program, you took your knowledge, you crafted this amazing high ticket offer, you have enrolled, you launched your program, you've enrolled several clients, you've gotten your investment back, which is always, I'm like, that makes me happy, because then I know, okay, she's done the hard work, she's gotten results, she's paid off her investment, and now she has this for life,
Yeah.
this skill set, this knowledge. So, what would you say has been your biggest win? If you could think of your biggest win over the last 6 months, personally or professionally, whatever it is, what would you say that has been for you?
Hands down, there's two things: the infrastructure. So now I've probably had, what's today, Wednesday? I've probably had 7 opt-ins, just in the last couple days. And I didn't know the names. And
Mm,
so that tells me that they're finding me they're finding me through my content. And the second thing I was going to say, hands down, is my messaging. The exercise, and I've, with your permission, I've even incorporated some of the similar exercise, of course giving you the credit, to help people really I think there's so many people marketing things, as coaches. They're trying to sell things online, but really just focusing on all their highlights and all their, this is what I do, or this is what I offer, and this is what you get, and blah blah blah. And while there's a place for occasional direct promotion like that, I know that when I went through your exercise to really find out my strengths, where I've excelled, what I know how to do, what I, better than most people. And then when I dove into my ideal client and really got into their minds and hearts,
yeah,
and this was a practice. It took me a while. In fact, I want to go through it all again
I
to
know.
see how much better I can get at it. Because when I got into their minds and hearts, my entire content, all my content changed. And I know that's how I was able to, when we went through the high ticket design launch process, that's how I was able to launch 150 people, I'm sorry, 130 and counting
Yeah,
people registered for
yeah,
my workshop that you helped me create.
yeah,
And it's the most authentic workshop I think I've ever created.
yeah. It was amazing.
And in the whole, everything leading up to it, it was my messaging. And I wouldn't have been able to fine tune my messaging such that I was really connecting with people. I was really coming down on their level and feeling, not that I'm coming up from anywhere high, but what I mean is,
Yeah,
instead of focusing on what I'm trying to get,
yeah,
I'm coming down here like, all right, where are we at right now?
yeah,
How are we feeling right now? I'm able to connect with people on such an emotional level. I have zero doubt about my messaging, like literally ever again. I
yeah,
will never run out of content because of the exercise you started me on in
yeah,
high ticket design before we even started our onboarding, you gave me
Yeah.
that exercise.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the infrastructure and that exercise has made all the difference, because so many people, they don't know how to market what they have. They don't know. They're
Yeah.
saying, flashy this, and
Yeah.
they run promos and all the things, but if you're not connecting with the people, if they're not seeing your stuff and saying, is she talking to me? Like,
Yeah.
that's me. Like, oh
Yeah.
my god, if they're not feeling that way,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a hard time
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
That's just it.
And you again, you're bringing up, this is such an important conversation, because there's two sides to a successful coaching business. There's actually coaching your clients and fulfilling your program and being a coach to your clients. And then there's the business side, the sales and marketing, the lead generation, the all of it that you see these things online like 0 to 100K in 30 seconds, and it's like, let's talk about what
So
we are.
foolish. It
It's,
sounds so foolish.
right. And so we're all about, over here in high ticket design world, we're here saying we want you to take your brilliance and package it in a way that is who you are and who you serve, but also learn how to create a system around your business that allows you to have the leverage as well as the scalability to eventually enroll several clients a month in a high ticket capacity. So you're working with fewer clients, you're making more revenue with more leverage. That's the whole objective with what we're creating. So let's tie a bow on this. And I want you to share, if somebody was listening to our conversation right now, which there are, so hello, what would you tell somebody who is a coach, who wants to be full-time, who wants leverage and scalability? These are coaches that don't want a busy calendar. They don't want to live on social media. What would you tell somebody sitting on the fence, like, thinking to themselves, I really want your mentorship, but I don't know. What would you tell someone who's sitting on the fence to getting help with getting their program off the ground?
Yeah. My first question would be, how long how long do you want to spin your wheels trying to figure this out on your own?
Yeah.
Because I, I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably one of the most disciplined people I know.
Yeah,
I'm
you
one
are.
of the most hardworking and committed and dedicated and all the things people that I know. And I trust that about myself. But even I know that to it's necessary to have help,
Yeah.
which for a person like me that is like, it's hard for me to ask for help. I know that it's logical,
Yeah.
um and that we just can't we could do it on our own. You can do it on your own, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Time, anguish,
Yeah.
money, because you're going to have to purchase all these things to try to figure it out, and with no troubleshooting, with no support. Like, it's not even logical. I would say, I would ask yourself, when is enough to
Yeah.
try and figure it out on your own?
Yeah.
How much is it worth to be able to have set in stone weekly connections, not just with you, Rena, but with the rest of your amazing group of entrepreneurs? You and I both attract really incredible people. The people in your group are just, I mean, they're just big hearts, really encouraging. Like,
Yeah.
what's it worth to
Yeah.
put yourself in that room with those types of people,
Yeah.
right? Giving you ideas and strong conversation. Like, what is it worth?
Yeah.
I was not in a position where I was like, I'm putting the brakes on. No, I'm not hiring a coach this year. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Not because I couldn't find a way to do it, because we all know if you really want something, you will find a way.
Yeah.
Not because I couldn't find a way to do it, but because I had already done so much. I thought, man, what if this is just one more, what if this is one more thing that leaves me still at the end without a system, without
Yeah.
a proper process
Yeah.
other than what I'm doing, which is tiring me out and it's burning me out.
Yeah.
And I knew I knew that you had figured it out. And that's what I would say to someone that is even considering, how long do you want to spin your wheels? And like, you have figured it out.
Yeah.
And your process is rock solid. And I don't stand behind a lot of things that strongly. And I've only recouped my investment at this point, but I know it will go. I can see this being a 500,000 a year business easily.
Oh
I
yeah.
really can.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Without
Oh my gosh.
without like burning the candle at both
Yeah.
ends.
Isn't that wild? Isn't it wild to see that where you can actually like feel it, see it, touch it, it's there, and you know it's just a matter of the time catching up with everything that you've put in place. Well, what an absolute honor it's been to be your guide on this journey and, be your mentor and work with you and have you in our program. I mean, you're really an exceptional human being and you add so much value to every room you're in. And everyone who knows you knows that when you speak to Jenn, you're getting heart, you're getting a lot of energy, and you're getting someone that genuinely cares and goes the extra mile. And so, Jenn, thank you for taking time to share your experience in high ticket design. And for those of you out there, Jenn is a phenomenal sales coach. And Jenn, where can people find you? Where can people find you on social media? Like, tell them where they can connect with you.
Sure. It's actually it's pretty simple. At the Jenn Cooper on all social platforms. Every one of them at the Jenn Cooper. I'd
Amazing.
love to connect with you. I love that I know you draw high quality people into your circle, and I love running alongside, people people like the ones you attract. So I'd love to connect with you guys and hear more about your business and what you got going on.
Amazing. I will tag, I will make sure that in the copy section, I'll tag you so everybody can connect with you and see your brilliance and get to follow your amazing journey. So, what an honor to have this conversation. And Jenn, thank you so much for your time. And I know everybody that knows you is rooting for you, and you will get to that 500,000 business and then some. I don't doubt it for a single second. So, thank you, Jenn.
Thank you so much for all you do for everybody. It's next level.
Oh, well, that means the world to me because you said something, and I'm going to carry that with me. It's not about the enrollment; it's about the testimonial.
Yeah.
And you know what? That is how I roll, and it's all about seeing your clients succeed. Like, why are we doing this if our clients aren't succeeding? I don't want any part of something where it's not working for people. Like, we got to help people grow and develop and move forward. And so seeing you do that is deep fulfillment as a coach, and you are a coach and you know very well what it feels like to see your clients move forward and soar. And so what a gift, what a joy it's been. Just love you to pieces.
Mm.
Mwah. Back at you.